The numbers are out, they are frightening. More than 3 lakh job cuts in the auto sector in India, demand down massively. July sales are down more than 30%. The auto sector is critical for India's growth. Just what is the crisis and why, we'll come to our panel in a moment. But here are some on the ground reactions from those in the industry who are suffering.
मैं बहुत कंपनियों में गया और रिज्यूम दिए, मगर मेरे को कहीं भी नौकरी नहीं मिली मैम। ठीक है, और मेरे को इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा परेशानी हुई, यानी कि 4 से 5 महीने हो गए हैं कि मैं पैदल जा के कंपनियों में रिज्यूम दिए हैं। बहुत ज़्यादा दिक्कत आ रही है, घर पे पैसे नहीं जा रहे हैं।
परेशानी यही हो रही कि मतलब खर्चा पानी चलाने में दिक्कत हो रही है और घर से ही मांगना पड़ रहा है, घर से ही पैसे मंगाने पड़ रहे हैं। इंटरव्यू दे के मतलब एकदम कहीं मिल नहीं रहा नौकरी।
हम लोग को अभी 2-3 महीना बोल रहा है नहीं, अब ऐसे ही प्रोडक्शन चलेगा, प्रोडक्शन ही नहीं हो रहा है, ऐसे ही मशीन बंद हो रहा है, काम कैसे होगा, हम लोग का कैसे चलेगा।
என்னன்னா இன்றைக்கி இருக்கிற சுச்சுவேஷனில் கம்பெனியில் வேலை செய்கிறவங்களுக்கு சம்பளமும் கொடுக்க முடியல, வாங்கின கடன் பேங்க்கில் அதையும் திருப்பி கட்ட முடியாத பயங்கரமாக கஷ்டமான சூழ்நிலை நாங்கள் இருக்கோம்।
हमारी जो व्हीकल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं उसमें कोई 15 कंपनीज का इंफॉर्मेशन हमारे पास आया, जिसमें कि कोई 15,000 के करीब कमी हुई है टेम्पररी और कैजुअल लेबर्स में। कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर्स में कोई 1 लाख के करीब कमी हुई है और वो 10 लाख के करीब वर्कर्स रिस्क पे हैं। और जो डीलर्स एसोसिएशन है उनके आंकड़े कुछ हैं, कुछ बताते हैं कि 2,30,000 के करीब उनके आदमी जो है कम हुए हैं और काफ़ी डीलरशिप्स जो हैं बंद हुई हैं।
Today everyone knows the market is very tough and a declining trend, and this is not happening just recently, it is going on for a few months. We are feeling the pinch as we see our volumes also declining. There is a glitch in the market where there is a typical customer resistance to walk into the showrooms and look at the cars and enhance the buying attitude. We were expecting, in fact, from some support from the government during the budget session of revising the GST, but however it was not very positive for us.
We had said that we have precedent of 2008 and 2014 where we had this slowing of demand and 4% reduction in the taxes happened at that point in time. So we said now also we need a reduction, and we all had a consensus that we should get 28% to 18%, and that will drive the growth for us.
Well, the numbers are absolutely horrific. This is an industry in decline. How has it happened so fast? Has it happened so fast? And what really is the road ahead? It's a bit of a cliche, but I'll say it nonetheless. Excuse me. The auto sector is a serious driver of the Indian economy. It's a fact. When we talk about GDP numbers, a lot of that is based on where the auto sector is going. It's clearly an indicator of where the overall economy is going. At this juncture, this July, the sales are the worst in 2 decades, down over 30%. 286 dealerships have closed over the last 18 months. Vehicle inventories have crossed 60 days against a previous high of between 30 and 45. 9 straight months of declines in sales. All categories of vehicles have seen a drop. This is a bloodbath. Maruti sales have gone down. Let's bring up the Maruti numbers as well, the auto car manufacturers numbers. Maruti sales have dropped 36.71% in July on a year-on-year basis. Let's bring up, there we go. Hyundai sales down 10.28%. Mahindra & Mahindra by 14.91%. Toyota has declined nearly 24%, Honda by 48.6%. It doesn't just apply to the 4-wheel segment, we are looking at the 2-wheel segment as well. At the 2-wheel segment, many would argue has as much, if not a more critical, is a more critical benchmark of our economic growth. Hero sales have dipped 18%, Honda motorcycles and scooters have gone down by 10.77%. So this is what we are talking about today. My colleague Siddharth Vinayak Patankar, our editor auto of the NDTV Group, with us. I'm also joined by Dr. Brinda Jagirdar, economist and former chief economist of SBI. Thanks, ma'am, for being with us. And Jagdish Khattar, the former MD of Maruti Suzuki. Siddharth, let me come to you first. Is there any immediate reason why the auto sector as a whole has slumped in this manner?
You know, anybody who's in the maritime business always fears the perfect storm, right? A combination of factors that lead to this almost inevitable crazy situation out at sea. It's like that for the auto sector right now. It's not just that one thing. And you're right, this is not something that's just happened overnight. It's sort of led up to this. We talk about sales for a particular manufacturer going down 14%. Doesn't sound so alarming, but remember, even last year at this time, it's not like sales were very robust. And so, yes, it's a combination of factors. The NBFCs drying up, the fact that, you know, macroeconomic situation and sentiment is at an all-time low. And then add to that the fact that interest rates, lack of course, liquidity, as I mentioned, and then increasing prices. You know, the norms have meant, both on safety as well as emissions, that prices have been steadily going up. And then there's that whole confusion. BS6, do I buy now or do I buy next year? What happens with electric vehicles? Are diesel vehicles going to get banned?
Yep.
It's a triple, quadruple whammy.
Mr. Khattar, would you agree with that over and above the crisis that exists now, and one of the other factors, of course, is that diesel, which used to be very much the fuel of choice in the Indian auto sector, has now gone. So all of the huge investments that companies made towards diesel engines, you know, it's problematic for them at this stage. Quite besides that, the future is uncertain. What happens with electric vehicles? What happens with Bharat Stage 6 emissions? What happens with additional safety standards? Because there is an inbuilt price. Now, if the price is to go up and the demand is slumping, what is the future of this segment?
You know, all I can say is that, I mean, you have mentioned every possible problem that is being faced by the industry, and there is no quick solution for it. I think we are in for a rough time, and no action on particular couple of things to be taken by the government or other agencies are going to make much of a difference. I mean, may they talk about if you can reduce your interest, etc., or you can do, is not going to make much of a difference, because there is now going to be a structural change along with the changes that you have mentioned that are taking place. So my fear and apprehension is that we are in for a rough time. It will, and along with that is the economy, etc., which is also playing its part with the new Euro norms coming into effect. Now, even before the Euro 6 comes into effect, government has started talking about electric vehicles.
Right.
Have we ever talked about a new technology coming even before the new one has been implemented, and every new technology takes 5-7 years
yeah, but
to
sir, a
amortize.
lot of people
So
would
the point
say that
I'm making
disruptive
is that
technology
there
is
utter
needed
confusion.
given the amount of pollution we face. But that's a somewhat different issue. Dr. Jagirdar, let me come to you for, next. What does this say as far as broader economic growth is concerned? What are the linkages between the auto sector and, for example, GDP growth that we keep tom-tomming about? What does this indicate in terms of where we are economically?
You know, the auto sector, not just the auto sector, but the entire transport ecosystem is a very critical part of the Indian economy. In fact, it is perhaps the largest employer, maybe the second largest after railways. But and also the auto sector is the fourth largest in the world, India's auto sector. So clearly this is a very important segment, not only provides employment, demand, investment, and this is facing difficult times now. But this is not something which has happened overnight. You know, for quite some time when the BS stage 6 they had announced skipping from stage 4 to stage 6. So, you know, this itself, at that itself, there was an expectation that there would be a slowdown because prices would go up, and there was a lot of pre-buying. Along with this, then of course came on the axle load factor which the government allowed, so which again slowed down the demand for trucks because existing trucks were getting overloaded. Then came on the electric vehicles competition from there, and then of course the NBFC crisis was I think the biggest the knock which the industry got.
Yes.
Because as your data showed, about 65% of the financing was coming from the NBFC sector. So when all this was drying up together, and then it's not just the OEMs, but even the vendors, the suppliers, the logistics sector, everything associated with this sector is now facing, is just staring at a blank, because even exports, there was a time when India was exporting, but now even globally the demand is slowing down, and Germany says we will ban all diesel vehicles beyond 2030. So there is a lot of uncertainty, not just in India, but globally. So this sector needs quick fixes now, and we are in for difficult times.
Okay.
Because it's not just from say other vehicles, but of models, because even the railways, for example, the goods have started moving on through railways, through inland waterways. So they are also providing competition to the road sector, the transport sector. So a lot of things, there are too many moving parts in this picture, and so therefore the sector is getting hurt, but we need to do something quickly, because the ramifications would be very serious.
Right. Siddharth, one point which we really need to talk about, employment. The numbers by the Society of Indian Auto Manufacturers were horrific. About 3.5 lakh jobs at the level of laborers. From your experience in talking to executives, in talking to CEOs, and talking to auto ancillary workers, how is this something which is affecting lakhs of lives if you look at families?
Oh, lakhs. And by the way, the numbers that we are talking about today, 3.5 lakhs, that's just the
initial
jobs that have gone already. The projections, if nothing is done, if there is no change or anything that happens in the next few days, is that this will hit a figure of 10 lakh jobs that will be lost by the end of the year. And so that's a grave situation. Of course, as has been said, it's one of the largest employers. And we're not just talking about people who are working in factories or at the offices of these manufacturers. We're talking about not just the dealers again. We're talking about people who are in part of the supply chain, the logistics guys, of course, component makers, and right down to even if you start adding in people like, those at the fuel pumps, then and workshops, then of course that number will balloon even further, because yes, once that demand slowdown starts to trickle down, people aren't buying vehicles, they aren't investing in anything new when it comes to that. Of course, the impact will be huge, because the number of people getting laid off, remember, these are not always skilled workers down at the lower level. Their re-employability is not always very easy, especially when they're trying to look at some other sector of work, and which is why it becomes also a political subject at some point. We're also now facing a situation that, by the way, has not been talked about, that when you talk about these price increases, after the GST implementation, don't forget a lot of the states also chose to hike road tax, and registration is also now being proposed as going up. All of that impact on the consumer. Throw in the Olas and the Ubers, and there's a lot of confusion. People just don't know if this is the right time to park their money, no pun intended, into a vehicle.
Yeah. Mr. Khattar, if we look at it from a completely different standpoint, in as much as the loss of jobs is a problem for us, a lot of people would say that this is perhaps the best opportunity possible for India to adopt a more viable public transportation system, one which is based on electric vehicles. Obviously, job losses are completely untenable for what we are as a country. But if we are looking to protect the environment, if we are looking at public transportation, if we are looking to cut down on congestion, if we are looking to deal with our parking problems in our cities, then is this perhaps not the way to go, where we really take advantage of the gap, the chasm which exists as far as public transport is concerned?
I'll just take a couple of points. I must mention that we are talking about vehicle. There is a change in mindset. I think very few people may have noticed. In a recent survey, young people who were asked what are their preferences, purchasing a car was number 4, 5 or 6. They are going away from cars. Various reasons. First of all, you have a parking problem, you have all those problems which are coming about. So they had much rather take taxi service or others instead of buying a car, and they are spending more on touring or going abroad and other things are concerned. Second, I think, are you aware that I read these some reports recently, and have started taking interest in non-motorized transportation. The number of people who are using cars today, they use a car for going to office for less than 6, 7, 8 kilometers is about 50% of them. The question to be asked is it necessary for this 50% people to use a car for traveling to their place of work, which is about 6, 7 kilometers, at least all of them? I think this point is coming, and I met some young people, and there was a meeting recently. They said, we don't want to buy cars. There is a parking problem, there is this problem, you park somewhere else. It's much better that you take an Ola or some other service. So there is going to be a structural change in transportation. People are getting the problems of environment, etc. is going to affect. And my feeling is, for example, you come to Noida, 60-70% of the people staying in Noida are working in Noida. Do they need cars to travel? So look at the number of people who can be transferred if there was a proper road, a good system for bicycles and all, and pooling of bicycles.
Chalo, Saf, I see what you're saying, that we need to think out of the box as well. But I think the immediate concern now is of jobs, is of families being devastated by this. It's something that's gone on for too long. We've got a lot more as far as the auto sector is concerned. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us.